Welcome to Red Eyes Creations Radio. Glad to have you with us, and thank you for tuning in. If you are a regular or a new listener tuning in for the first time, good to have you here. My name is Henrik Palmgren, and we are coming to you from Sweden in Scandinavia. We are here with a new program every Thursday and Sunday. You can find us from around the globe 24/7 through our website, redicecreations.com. That's REDICE creations.com. On our website, you'll find radio archives, a very busy news section with interesting, important, upsetting, and also some positive stories from around the world. We also have a member section containing extended interviews with many of our guests, short films, live feeds, and where you can find our entire and growing radio archive, going back over 2 years. Today we have author and researcher Michael Tsarion back with us on the program, and Michael has a new book on Astro-Theology coming out soon. After he's concluded his magnum opus on Irish origins, he's coming out with a new one, so he's definitely keeping busy. And this is what we're going to dive into here today. The website is michaeltsarion.com. That will take you to all of Michael's other sites with writings, books, DVDs, and much more. But the main site that you need to take a look at relating to our program today is astro-theology.net. That's astro-theology.net. Michael is also one of the speakers at the upcoming Beyond Knowledge conference in Liverpool, England. So if you're in the UK area, or somewhere in Europe for that matter, and want to catch Michael's talk on a Beyond Knowledge conference, stay tuned. We're going to talk more about that at the end of our program here today. We had a lot of requests to have you back on the show, Michael, and we've been eager ourselves to do another program with you, so it's a pleasure having you back. Hi and welcome, Michael.
Thanks, Henrik. It's always a pleasure, and always thank you for your great show and for the time that you spend with myself and other, authors and researchers. It's always, appreciated.
Very good. Excellent to have you back, Michael. It's going to be a great show. And I want to begin here today to read a quote from your new upcoming book. And I really like this paragraph a lot. Christians do not need to find salvation from sin. They need to find salvation from priestly deceivers who have everything to lose should their congregations discover the true origins of their religion. They need to be saved from mythmongers and forgers guilty of cannibalizing and re-scripting the traditions of the ancient cults. Christian theology is based on Astro-Theology. It is a corrupt hybrid of Irish Druidism and Egyptian Amenism. The future of Christianity depends upon this truth being widely known and accepted. It depends upon the exposure of deceivers in high places who continue to profit from the ignorance and blind faith of millions of men and women who, despite their own resistance and apathy, deserve to know the truth. Last year you did a 5-hour DVD, Michael, entitled Astro-Theology and Sidereal Mythology. And now pretty soon here you have a new book then coming out on the subject of Astro-Theology. Is this a companion book to the DVD, or why did you decide to write this, Michael?
It is a companion, Henrik. Thanks first for reading that caption from the book. And yeah, the DVD has been very successful. It's one of the first DVDs on this subject. It's not the first. Of course, my mentor Jordan Maxwell has labored for 30 years to bring this to the fore, and he's the ultimate student and researcher in this subject, and this, through my studies with him, that it honed a lot of my interest and also my own studies. I had studied Astro-Theology before I'd met Jordan, but I didn't. Man, there was just so many pieces missing. I didn't have the full picture, and of course I didn't realize that such a man like him existed, who'd already did the 30 years of research and could answer all of these, questions that I had. And believe me, if, he wasn't in my life, there would have been no way that either my DVD nor my book, would have come into existence. Both these items are dedicated to Jordan, and always, every time I even write a sentence or, even continue my studies, I'm always conscious of his contribution, because I mean, you can study something for a long, long time, but this is an extremely diverse subject, actually.
Yeah.
It encompasses, I've always described astro-theology as the subject of subjects, because like in many of these arcane areas, you're not just studying one subject, you're studying many. It's not just about beating one subject to death, It's about trying to encompass all of the world's mysteries. It's a real task, So I had a lot of these pieces, say, of the jigsaw, but I didn't know the full picture. So it was just great for to get in touch with Jordan and then realize that we had so much in common with this, and to continue. So that the DVD first and foremost was put together, but then it's been just so successful, and people have loved it, and they've wanted more.
Yeah,
they wanted more, and so then I thought, okay, well, look. We can do part 2, look at, Astro-Theology DVD part 2, but then what that does is it breaks up the Origins and Oracles series of programs, because then people are going to go, okay, well, wait a minute, I've got volume 1, but then, volume 2, it sort of pulls the Astro-Theology out to be a box set of its own, which I don't want to have happen.
Right. So,
and more importantly than that is, like, how many DVDs could you produce on Astro-Theology? I mean, no amount of DVDs could really do justice to the subject, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, it just felt like the time was right now to collate my notes and, collate all the material I've been collecting for years. People have also just said, we want more on this, why don't you do a book? So again, to answer your question in brief, it is just a people's demand, basically, because again, I didn't plan this. It wasn't even planned last year. It was something that people have said, we want more on that particular subject. We love the DVD.
Right.
Maybe we can do a book. And it fits because my Atlantis book is a companion, after all, of the Atlantis DVD.
Right.
So I've already done one. I've already done a companion book to the DVD. So I thought, okay, well, why not? Let's make Astro-Theology have a companion book, So it should be done in about a month or so,
Very good. The book and the DVD, of course, deal with the hidden roots of religion. Of course, the first question that comes to mind is, why would one want to study Christianity's ancient hidden roots, particularly when so many young people nowadays could not care less about religion, and since so many believers, I guess, have fallen away from their religions?
They have. Of course, that has been the case in the last 30 years. It's... I guess the best way to answer that is that the church has nothing to fear from those people who've turned away. A lot of people who are agnostic, a lot of people who will become atheistic, they think in their minds that by them not participating, because they just don't go to church and get sprinkled with holy water, that in some way the church is in some way threatened by that.
Right.
Let me make it very clear that that is not the case. Just because you have found out that it's not worth your time, or you have a few, quandaries about it, or you didn't like the pastor, or, you don't like the whole suit and tie, gig or whatever, just because you have bowed out for whatever reason is in no way threatening to the establishment that has caused so much misery in this world. And the reason is because an ignorant agnostic and an ignorant atheist is about as little of a threat, is about the same amount of threat as the ignorant believer. Sitting in the pews, you see. I mean, the main common denominator is ignorance. It doesn't mean you're ignorant outside the door of the church, carrying on your little daily life, or you're ignorant sitting listening to the guy every Sunday on the hour. It is of no importance as long as ignorance, you see, is the key. And this is unfortunately what it is. So my message, Jordan's message, is not just to bore agnostics and atheists who've already go, look, I know it's all bunk. I already don't go to church. I already, could care less about this. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in anything. It's not just to say, pat these people on the back and go, well done. That's mighty good of you to, know that.
Right.
It's to say that your ignorance is still participant. I don't want people to turn away from Christianity or Judaism or any of these Leviathans ignorantly. I want both the believers, this is the people who read the Bible and are studying it assiduously and who want to know the mystery of these traditions, and I want the person who doesn't want to do anything with the institution to be empowered through knowledge.
Right.
This is the key thing,
Yeah.
This is the key thing to remember.
So
and of course the most important reason is because there's a why would you want to study religion is because there is an entire crime syndicate out there called the Vatican. Right. Called the Judeo-Christian organization that is, as you said in the beginning, profiting from the millions of people who don't know that this religion is damaging to your health. They'll put smoke kills on every box of cigarettes.
Huh.
And signs all over the freeways and all other things, don't put the cat in the microwave, and you've got lists, especially in America, you hold the handrails, walk on the left. You'll have every kind of, mantra repeated dozens of times about your other safety,
right,
so-called. But where is the skull and bones, poison, deadly, lethal, toxic waste? Where is that sign on religion? Nowhere to be found.
Right.
And then people look at me and Jordan and think, oh boy, you guys are, iconoclastic. You guys are really something. Keep on putting this religion down. Oh yeah? Well, let's take around the graveyards and see how many people, they'd be agreeing only they're dead.
And also, if we study a little bit on the background on some of these other so-called, isms that have popped up lately, like communism, so forth, Nazism, there is in many cases, if we follow that evidence, of trails of evidence, a lot of evidence saying that this is actually connected with the Vatican and the Catholic Church, and then the whole, situation becomes instantaneously very much different,
It does, and ultimately, you see, this has been proven. This has been, hands down proven. I mean, Avro Manhattan, now you have more recently John Phelps. There's not a stone that's been left unturned in the research community proving that the Vatican has not only been in cahoots with the Soviets, with Mussolini, with the fascists, Russia, with Hitler. This has all been right up, clearly made into plain view as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not talking about Roman Catholics, of course, endorsing any of this. This is not what we mean. The Vatican is an institution. It's a state within a state. It's a political edifice.
Yeah.
But of course, those people who've tracked all of this, financial, economic, militaristic sort of goings on, that's great. My work focuses more on their mind control, the whole other psychodynamics,
right,
of the way that they might be controlling man, and what it is in man also that allows himself to be, so deceived like this.
Do the clergymen know that they're, consciously deceiving people?
For the most part, yeah. For the most part, they do. I mean, I have no problem understanding that because I've come from Belfast, where it's very flagrant. That's not every person. There are true Christians out there who believe in Christ, and they think they're absolutely sure that the moral code, the Mosaic commandments, etc., is the way to go. There's I don't have an argument with that. I don't have an argument with virtue. I don't have an argument with morality. I don't have an argument with the Bible per se. It's just a book. It's what's been done in the name of God and in the name of that book. You see, don't forget that we can split hairs and say, isn't it really sad? Not that Christianity exists, but isn't it sad that man needs to be promised an eternal paradise, meaning an eternal reward after he's dead, in order to stop him from doing the most cruel and sadistic acts while he's alive? I mean, he doesn't do it of his own nature because it's easy that some, nice religion can just come along and just calmly remind people, be moral, don't do bad things. No. You have to create an entire promissory web and really insinuate into human beings that you're going to live forever after you're dead and you will have endless reward. So for goodness sake, for God's sake, don't do evil things now. And man sits there thinking, well, chewing his bone beside the fire. Well, I guess, all right then. I'll buy into that. Maybe I can, be less sadistic, less, less horrific, less brutal. Mm-hmm. But it's so, to me, it's outrageous that such a thing would have to be concocted in order to get man to be virtuous. Is man not virtuous, or is there perhaps some other way, a better way of bringing out that virtue? Or is it probably just better to face facts and realize, it's not going to happen? Instead of concocting this lie mechanism that says, okay, we'll give you this if you do this. If you do this, we'll give you that,
It's a false virtue. It's a virtue that maybe have been put upon man, maybe at the wrong time also then,